Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's August webinar for the New Mexico Rainforest EDA University Center. My name is Cecilia Pacheco, and I am the site coordinator for the New Mexico Rainforest University Center. And today, we just wanted to do a brief overview and introduction about our programs, the resources that we have available to entrepreneurs, students, community members through the University Center. And then we also have with us two special guests. One is Bill Szaroletta, who is an instructor with UNM Innovation Academy, and he teaches several e-commerce courses that are part of the University Center program, and he's gonna go over his classes and what he does with us. And then we also have Larry Sklar with us, who serves as our Innovation Fellow in Residence for the University Center, and he has office hours as part of the program. And he's gonna go over his background, his experience, and why he is a great person to attend office hours with. So just a little bit about me before I go into exactly what the University Center program is. I'm a native New Mexican, born and raised in Santa Fe, but I've lived in Albuquerque for about 8 years now. I got my undergrad at UNM, and originally was planning on going to physical therapy school, but decided that wasn't the path that I wanted to take. So I ended up at UNM's Anderson School of Management. I received my MBA in 2018. And while I was in the MBA program, I had started working at UNM Rainforest Innovations as an innovation intern in 2017. And then after graduating with my MBA, came on as a full-time staff member. Originally started working with marketing art technologies, but now I work with economic development, and as I mentioned before, as the site coordinator for the New Mexico Rainforest University Center. And that's what's brought me here today, to give you guys a little introduction about what our program is all about. So as I mentioned, I work for UNM Rainforest Innovations, and what we do is we are the technology transfer office for the University of New Mexico. And what that entails is we protect technologies created at UNM through patenting, and then we transfer these technologies out to the marketplace, either via licensing or via startup companies. We serve as a connector between the business community and the research community at UNM. And then we also serve as an economic development organization for New Mexico. And that is what the University Center is part of, is that economic development effort. So one of the questions that I get asked probably most frequently about the New Mexico Rainforest University Center is, why is it called the rainforest? Like, we're in New Mexico, we live in a desert, like, where did this rainforest come from? Like, why do you call it that? And so I always tell people about this book that we're required to read as staff members at UNM Rainforest Innovations. It's called The Rainforest, and it talks about how the rainforest ecosystem has a lot of different characteristics, different plants, animals that all come together to create this very fruitful environment. And the innovation ecosystem is very similar to that type of rainforest ecosystem. So we use a lot of the concepts in this book and from this rainforest model to develop this innovation hub in Albuquerque. And we've done a pretty good job at establishing that in Albuquerque. We're still working on growing that innovation ecosystem, but we have the foundation here. And what we wanted to do was bring that rainforest that we've established in Albuquerque out to the greater communities of New Mexico. And the way we've been able to do that is through an EDA grant that we received a few years ago. This was a 5-year grant. We received it in 2018, and through partnership with UNM Innovation Academy. And so we're using it to expand this rainforest model out so that it's not just in Albuquerque, but we are trying to foster this innovative attitude in the rest of the state of New Mexico. And so the program is blended between entrepreneurial training, e-commerce training, and then we also have various forms of support and resources for students and community members who have a business idea or who already have an established business but are looking at ways to expand. And as I mentioned, one of the goals of the New Mexico Rainforest University Center is to expand to other parts of the state. And so we're doing this via the UNM branch campuses. And so we have communications with UNM Gallup, UNM Los Alamos, UNM Taos, and UNM Valencia. And our hope is that once this 5-year grant is over, that we have established various forms of rainforests in these other parts of the state. And this just goes over, as I stated, the mission and goals of the New Mexico Rainforest University Center to advance high growth entrepreneurship, cultivate innovation, and then just encourage business expansion and economic growth throughout our state. So while we were planning for this university center, we decided that a really good platform would be e-commerce for all. We live in a rural state. We don't have a high population, and so we thought that it would be really good to bring e-commerce classes, e-commerce resources to students and community members in New Mexico to help us expand our digital presence so that we can cater to not only the New Mexican population, but we can expand our business outside of the state. And there's two parts to this e-commerce for all platform. One is the Create Sell Bank class, which instructor Bill will be going over further at the end of my short overview and introduction. He'll explain what this class entails and what he does. So we have that class. And then we also have a new class that's transitioning to the new economy. It's an 8-week online training program, and Bill will talk more about that in a little bit. And the second part to this e-commerce platform and the New Mexico University Center program is our seminar series. So these seminars cover general entrepreneurial topics that even if you're not studying business are really good to know if you are looking into entrepreneurship or if you have an idea but you don't really know how to get started. These seminars give a really good general overview of important topics for you to know. This is just a list of the previous seminars that we have had, and we have an upcoming list of seminars this fall 2020. Originally, we had these seminars in person, and we also live streamed them via Zoom. Obviously, now with COVID-19, we're doing everything virtually. So these seminars are live streamed, but they're also recorded and then uploaded to our website so that people can either view them in real time or view them at a later time. And so these two aspects, the Create Cell Bank class and then the seminars, offer the opportunity for participants to receive an entrepreneurial capabilities certificate. So in order to receive this certificate, you either need to complete one of the Create Cell Bank courses that Bill teaches, or to attend or view 7 seminars that we have posted on our website, and then complete their associated quizzes. So if you attend 7 seminars and complete the 7 quizzes, then you can receive your certificate. And if you're interested in this certificate program, feel free to reach out to me. My email is at the bottom of this slide, and I can also include it in the chat once I'm done with my brief overview. But this is a great opportunity for anyone who is just looking to expand their knowledge in entrepreneurial topics or who wants to pursue some sort of business idea. Lastly, this is a really cool part of the University Center program. We have designated site mentors at each of the branch campuses. And these mentors serve as kind of an Ask Me Anything resource. So you can reach out to them via email. And then they also hold virtual office hours where you can meet with them to discuss your ideas. This is just, these are our current mentors. John Chavez is our mentor for UNM Los Alamos. And then we have Susan Cornelius with UNM Valencia. She's a great resource, and she's also one of our I-Core mentors, so she's very knowledgeable and loves working with tech startups. And then we have Stacy Sacco, who is the head of UNM's Small Business Institute, and he's also our mentor for UNM Taos. And he is also a great resource, and he's very well connected in the community. So if you're looking for connections, he's your guy. And Vanessa Roanhorse was our UNM Gallup mentor for the past year, but she was great, but she's gotten so busy with her consulting company and her other various things that she's doing that she wasn't able to continue on with us this year. So we're currently in the process of getting another mentor for UNM Gallup, but for the time being, I serve as the site coordinator, so I can answer any questions and talk to anyone from UNM Gallup. Just feel free to reach out to me. And as I said, our site mentors are available for office hours, but we also have a long list of additional office hours. Some of these aren't currently active, like the SBDC and Sklar office hours we're not having right now. But the others, like the Rainforest Mentoring office hours with Stacy Sacco, and then our Rainforest Innovation Fellow office hours have been converted to virtual office hours. So they're available to you, to anyone who needs a mentor, who just has any questions, wants to discuss their ideas. We have these upcoming office hours. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But that's basically all I have for today, the brief introduction and overview. And so now I'm gonna turn things over to Bill, and he's gonna go over his portion of University Center. Welcome, Bill.
Oh, thanks so much, Cecilia. That was, you did a great introduction or a previewing of this. And this is just gonna be a quick overview. For those of you that have a lot of experience with Zoom. This is great for me. And Cecilia just did a pro move. She just gave me access so that I can move my cursor and change my own slides. And well done. So I'm a professor in the Innovation Academy, and I'm also the Chief Innovation Officer at Project Echo, which is now in over 40 countries and 400 partners. I've got a couple of engineering degrees, Michigan and Stanford, and I've got a computer science applied math degree from University of Georgia while I was teaching down there. So essentially now the teaching assistant for the course is Anna Kutula. She has taken all three of the series of Create Cell Bank, both the Create Cell Bank 1, the intro course, the advanced course where you scale and explore other methods, more of a deep dive, and then a Create Cell Bank app, which is a course where you do data-driven apps, interactive dashboards, local mobile apps, and chatbots. So she is a registered patent agent, and because she's taken the courses and there's a lot of creative ideas that are discussed, she's a great resource to have, as well as UNM Rainforest Innovations. So having a click. Yep. Well, it was almost. Now, I think I went backwards or did something. Sorry, Cecilia. That was not a pro move. We've been using Zoom at Project Echo since 2013, and I negotiated with Eric Yuan to get deals, a worldwide site license for Project Echo. I'm usually a host of meetings, so this is great fun. So anyways, I want to talk about the portion of the program that Cecilia talked about, the EDA grant that was set up for helping small businesses recover from the pandemic. And we just, I had been teaching Create Cell Bank, and Lisa Kutula, Rob Del Campo, Kara Michaelazen, and we were talking about what we do. And I said, well, why don't I could take the content of Create Cell Bank, which is a 16-week course offered through the university, and package it down. And I was a little over optimistic. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but we did it in 6 weeks, and we offered it twice last summer. And it, anyways, this is what it was. It was a grant that came from the Department of Commerce, the Economic Development Administration, with the acronym EDA. And it, basically had this, during this time of economic uncertainty, that many New Mexico small businesses needed to build or increase their online presence, and really to offset the decline in in-person traffic. And that was kind of the goal starting off. And it turned out that a lot of the businesses had zero online presence. And probably the key thing is a keyword-rich domain name, some .com domain name, and a lot of them were Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, and it was really eye-opening for me, because in where we are now in 2020, you absolutely have to have an online presence to augment your in-person presence. And that was what we started to do, and could we have the next slide? I'm going to let you swap them, Cecilia. And, you know, the course has three, you know, aside from the EDA, UNM Rainforest Innovations and the UNM Innovation Academy are supporters of this. UNM Rainforest Innovations is the PI on the grant. The Innovation Academy is the co-PI. And there's the Create Cell Bank logo down there that was supported by the university. Next slide. So, you know, putting together the content, this is a lot of material for a 6-week. It's a lot of material for an 8-week class. But, you know, nonetheless, we went through it. And what the feedback that I got from the Zoom meetings and various things like that, it was that it was a real opportunity to rethink what they were doing. A lot of folks had, you know, storefronts, they had, you know, restaurants, they had retail businesses, they had jewelry businesses, they had, they were massage therapists, they were lawyers. And I was like, well, what do we do online? So the innovation processes and design thinking gave them the chance to think through and rethink not only what they were doing in their in-person business, but online, what they could do. And, you know, just what does it take to do that? And how do you go about, what are the basics that you need to set up an online business? To rethink your unique selling proposition or your USP, you know, like the Domino's pizza, you know, delivered hot in 30 minutes or it's free, you know, and, you know, just something that would really summarize their business. Now, in the course, we go through a ton of online business models, and because that was kind of the other thing is one size really doesn't fit all. In this course, the participants, there were some that had 25 years of online experience. There were some that had none, had a dream to go online. Some of them were very technically adept, some had none. And some of them understood marketing and business terminology, and some understood very little. And it was really interesting to go through that, but, you know, presenting the business models. So, you know, the next bullet down is researching, selecting, and purchasing a high value, keyword rich domain name. The importance of that is that the search engines love keyword rich domain names. And if you can come up with keywords, whether it's one, whether it's two, whether it's three keywords that, or you can combine into a key phrase, those can feed right into your unique selling proposition, but it can also feed into your overall brand. And you can, the value of that. So, you know, part of going through there was to use some tools. I'm not going to go into this, but to find domain name keyword combinations that could go into a domain name that had a valuation of $1,000 or greater. Now you can purchase this for $11.99, and which opens up one of the business models, which is called domain name flipping. You buy the domain name and it's got a value of, you know, over $1,000, and you can perform some arbitrage there. So next one down is, you know, what online presence do you want to, back one slide. There we go. To, you know, look at the online, you know, web presence. What do you want to do? Do you want to build a list? And this isn't an either or, you know, do you need a website and a shoppable landing page? Do you want a full eCommerce storefront? Or are you going to utilize some of the existing, platforms that are out there. And those were all, we went through that in the course. And then once we went through what are the options to actually develop the online web presence. And that was so much fun to see folks that had never been online to suddenly get online and to understand the principle of cardinality of one to many, where you're one person and you put something online. If you have traffic to that, all of a sudden you've got a lot of people that are coming back to you or your staff. And then where do you get help? Because if you've never done it before, it's great to have a mentor, an expert that can come in and help. And we went through some various ways to get that type of support, whether it's business planning, developing your unique selling proposition, doing keyword research, logo design, website development, storefront development, social media marketing, and that the et cetera is there for a reason, because a lot of folks found out that back in the early days of the World Wide Web, it used to be almost trivially simple to apply arbitrage and make money. Then nowadays, it takes a lot of work, and it's a lot more complex than it was. So in this course, I tried to show people, how you can get something done when you don't necessarily know what you're doing. Next slide, please. Maybe I can, there we go. So the course, it's available to anybody in the community. It's completely online. Now, by online, it does mean that there's videos, that there's course materials that are up there, there's assignments. And in addition, there is the ability to have a discussion channel. We use Slack for that, and we were able to use some Zoom virtual office hours to get things done. And you need to have kind of the basics. If you want people to hear you, you need a microphone. If you want to hear people, you need a speaker. If you want to see people, you need a display. If you want people to see you, you need a webcam. And you need some sort of computing device that's hooked to the network, along with some application that supports tying all those together. And, so a lot of that is in a device like this that has all of those elements, or it can be a desktop computer. You just need something that you can come in and do. Now, registrations through Eventbrite, there's a long link there, but you can search Small Business Recovery Course once you go to Eventbrite, and you can find that link. And it is $17 for the 8-week course. Next slide, please. There's no prerequisites or technical skills. It's basically, no exuberant or over-the-top technical skills. You need to know how to set up a Google account, do web searches, and to use Excel. If you know how to do those things, you can do everything in this course. And basically the same with the technical requirements. You need you should have a high-speed internet connection, and browsers, and you want to make sure that you've got an updated browser. Next slide, please. So these books, these are the 3 books. The first one, 80-20 Sales and Marketing, is by Perry Marshall, and he's an engineer like myself and Anna, and he took the very simple Pareto of 80-20. You get 80% of your results from 20% of the inputs, and expanded that and wrote this book, 80/20 Sales and Marketing. It is one of my favorite, top 5 favorites of all time, because you can apply 80/20 multiple times, and it shows how you can apply the 80/20 rule to set pricing, to anticipate number of sales, and things like that. So that's a huge cornerstone of the course. The next one over is .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. He is the founder of a company called ClickFunnels that does essentially that, funnels, and it sets up funnels with a drag and drop editor that you can do things. And a funnel is taught in the course such that, so how many times have you been offered a lead magnet, like a free PDF, or a free sample, or a free something, to get something? And it's like, well, yeah, I've been offered that. Well, you are now in that particular organization's sales funnel. And that's been one of the feedback items that I get quite often is, now we know when we're in a funnel, when people we're on their email list and they'll start selling us things. And convince them in 90 seconds is for a pitch, how to construct an elevator pitch, how to put something together so that you can, essentially meet people, get your point across, and, basically sell as efficiently as you can. And, Nicholas Boothman is the author of this, and that's one of those timeless classics. Now, I mentioned funnels and lead magnets. The 80/20 Sales and Marketing book is available for free, $0. There's a link, you can go buy it, and you just have to pay shipping and handling. So the little secret there is it's not free, but the point is, Perry Marshall knows the lifetime value of a customer. And if he can get you reading 80/20 Sales and Marketing, which is a captivating book, but if you can start reading that, you're going to consume more and more of his products, his higher end products, like in his funnel, and ultimately get into his consulting business. So he's a very shrewd online business person. Same thing for Russell Brunson. You can get this thing for free, and you pay shipping and handling, and the book comes. Now, in both those cases, you are on Marshall and Brunson's email lists. You can clearly opt out, but what I wanted to do was provide the students with an opportunity to get world-class supporting material to the course for very low investment. Convince them for 90 seconds, that just has, or convince them in 90 seconds has, it's available on Amazon, and you can get it, and you can buy it used, and you can get it very inexpensively. So that's the kind of the overhead on top of the $17 to take the course, is you buy these 3 books. Next slide, please. So there's been about 200 individuals that have, and small businesses that have taken the course. And it was offered April, May, and then there was so much demand for it. We did it May, June, and we got done with that. And we said, well, let's offer it this fall. So that's what we're just starting up the course, which is going to be August, September, that we'll have that course going, and it's actually going to roll into October because it's now an 8-week course. And there's a lot of comments. I'm not going to read this, but some of the comments, the ones that I have bold and underlined, that's me doing that, is this course was a lifeline. And next one. You know, there is something for everyone in this course. And what I liked about this was, you know, the following that up with Perry Marshall's, you know, it's not a failure, it's testing. And, you know, that's part of what 80/20 sales and marketing can do. Next slide. And this one is, you know, this person has a consulting business, and UNM grad said, you know, rather than, you know, a nuts and bolts course to set up or modify a storefront website, the course encouraged business owners to look at the bigger picture. For example, what different marketing channels are available online, how to structure and expand their sales funnel, what strategies and tools are available to deeply understand their customer base, how to identify viable products for their business, and how to use multiple facets of today's social media, how to identify their seasonal trends, and how to expand and scale their business. Next slide. And this one was one of our attorneys that took the course. And there was a goat to meeting that it was a company that was selling natural products, and they had all sorts of people. Well, they had Zoom meetings where they would rent out one of their goats that would be in one of the Hollywood squares of a meeting. And Lisa and I thought that was such a cool idea. And, you know, so what I did was I posed it to the class, and I said, well, okay, what can you do that you could offer as a service to somebody that, you know, would enable you to, you know, basically something to meeting. So I had the students go through and value the domain names, and like attorneytomeeting.com and lawyertomeeting.com came out of this. And essentially it was a way for this attorney to expand their business by joining meetings as a professional attorney. And it was so cool because this domain name, again, is worth more than $1,000. Once that's set up, one of the businesses, again, is to flip that to somebody else, or you grow it yourself. And what I underlined at the end is I'm sure that other small businesses and entrepreneurs found this course and its exercises meaningful, and hope that it will continue to be offered. And we took that and we are offering it. Next slide. And then the last one was having my own domain and building my website will help me keep more of the profit to reinvest rather than giving it away. I see it as owning rather than renting. Next slide. Okay, so just to review, this course is through Eventbrite. You can go there, you can, you know, $17 plus, you know, the cost of those books. And the types of businesses are, if you've got a physical products business, you sell physical products, you manufacture them, or you use arbitrage by finding them and bringing them in. You sell digital products, manuals, how-to guides, books, whatever. Or you sell services, whether you do search engine optimization, website development, you do something, you provide legal services to people. And that was really the most eye-opening, one of the most eye-opening was, what business am I in and what can I do online? A lot of UNM students shy away from the service business, at least just in my experience, but that can be potentially one of the most lucrative things if you have an expertise, particularly the students that take the Create Sell Bank app course. Can we see the next slide, please? So, you know, the community course, it's modeled after the first course in the Create Sell Bank series, which is LAIS 343, Section 3. And, it's on a compressed time scale, but nonetheless, that's what it is. There's the Advanced Create Cell Bank 2 class, and then the Create Cell Bank app course, where students develop the data-driven dashboards, mobile apps, and a chatbot. Those 3 areas are trending right now. And once you have taken the course, you have a degree of expertise that 99% of business owners don't have. But they need dashboards, they need interactive dashboards, they need mobile apps, they need chatbots, or they could use that. So we talk about how to set up a business with that. Next slide, please. So that has been an overview of the community edition of Create Cell Bank, and a short overview of the 3 courses that are in the series, Create Cell Bank 1, 2, and app. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you for that overview. I'm actually taking Bill's class this fall, so I'm super excited to continue to learn the content of it. Next, we have with us Larry Sklar. I'm gonna try to give you remote control. See.
I'm going to try to take it.
You should be able to control the screen.
So I'm Larry Sklar. I am a professor in the Health Sciences Center, and I'm an inventor of a company called IntelliSite, and I'm going to talk to you today about this specific example of university technology that went to commercial success and exit. And I think about this as an academic perspective on what I've realized is an Amazon model of drug discovery that dates back 40 years. So I'm trying to advance the slides with the down button. Is that? Oh, okay. So I'm going to talk about a technology which is flow cytometry. And flow cytometry is a technology that involves taking samples, typically cells such as blood samples. Can you see my arrow, Cecilia?
No, I don't see your arrow.
Okay, so taking samples to a machine where the sample is pressurized and delivered through a laser beam, and the particles in the sample, let's say that they are cells, are analyzed one by a laser beam. And what happens is that signals that are associated with those cells are detected. And something very interesting happens in this detection system, which is you can detect stains that are associated with the cells that are flowing through and discriminate that staining pattern from the volume around it. So the problem is that flow cytometry is a widely used clinical and research tool that has applications in cells in suspension. They could include immune cells, white cells, cancer cells, bacteria, fungus, host pathogen interactions, and molecular targets. And the opportunity is that high throughput flow cytometry could be used to screen targets one at a time or multiple targets for drug discovery, drug repurposing, personalized medicine, the applications of monoclonal antibodies and immuno-oncology. Next slide. So this work actually started about 40 years ago when I realized that you could use flow cytometry in a way that would be suitable for drug discovery. It's called a homogeneous assay of mix and read. You just add the stains to the cells to tell you what's going on. And that you could, if you could follow that staining in real time, you could learn a lot about what was going on in the cells. When I came to New Mexico 30 years ago and joined UNM in Los Alamos, the National Flow Cytometry resource, I began to think about using this technology for drug discovery to graduate students. And I realized that if we could deliver cells in what I call this Amazon model, you could actually tell what was happening with potential drugs. And so the unmet need was controlling delivery for high throughput, compatible with discovering drugs, testing lots of drugs for interactions with cells. I call it Amazon because it's the idea of controlling delivery, that there's already a business model where machines are being sold and reagent kits are being developed. But this actually has to do with specifically controlling delivery. And I show pictures of the people who are on the initial team. Next slide, please. So what we did is we learned how to hook up a commercial device called an autosampler to a flow cytometer. And what happens with this autosampler is that it samples tiny volumes from plates that have 384 wells or 1,536 wells, and that you can see the sample coming through wells from each of the plate. And what IntelliSite did was to take this concept and put it into a box. And that, I don't know if you can see, it's where it says IQ IntelliSite. Next slide. So this work started in about 1999, where we learned how to do this. Commercialization happened in about 2006. We participated in many programs involving the National Institutes of Health, starting in about 2004 for drug discovery, taking things to clinical trials, threat reduction with the Department of Defense, and another program at UNM called the Clinical and Translational Science Center. We started building infrastructure, which is shown in the building. We actually moved into a building that was available at the time and remodeled it during the period of stimulus funding that was back in the Great Recession. The program started to expand. We joined other types of opportunities for drug discovery involving the National Cancer Institute and a program called Druggable Genome. Next slide, please. In the space that we occupied in this building that was renovated, we built areas for instrument development, high throughput screening, developing new targets for discovery, looking at microbiology pathogens as targets, and included a team that did the informatics around discovery. Next slide. At the heart of this renovation was a system for high throughput that was automated, that connected the handling of cells and the staining of cells to detect what they were doing to flow cytometers. Next slide. Meanwhile, IntelliSite was building their business. So they took this concept and put it into a package, and were looking for opportunities in drug discovery for individual patients, which is called personalized medicine, in immuno-oncology, which are relationships between the immune system and oncological or diseases or cancer. And then antibodies are another class of drugs that can also be discovered by flow cytometry. Next slide. So this involved actually an interaction with a CEO of the company. And so this is his story. Terry Dunlay founded a company in Pittsburgh called Cytometry that was up for sale. He was looking to move back to the West and set up a business here. He explored opportunities at UNM, Sandia, and Los Alamos, and began a courtship with what was then called STC, UNM Science and Technology Corporation, looking at various types of technologies. He had a background in doing cell analysis using microscopy to do drug discovery. And so he thought, well, maybe I could use flow cytometry, which also uses cells, but in this case, cells in suspension rather than cells on a microscope slide. He started building relationships with me and my co-inventor, Bruce Edwards. It turns out that we knew some of his colleagues who were also co-founders at Cytometry. And so what was lining up for him was a fit for the technology, a relationship with myself and Bruce, and then a relationship with STC. So starting in 2004, our first patent issued in 2005. I won a $10 million grant from NIH to continue develop the technology and develop applications. He took an option, and he moved to New Mexico in the end of 2005. After the exploration phase, next slide, they built a company that was based upon the platform, the machine, the software that would analyze the data, and reagents that would be delivered to the machine. So this was a business that would be life science tools that would be useful for biotech, pharma, academic and government labs. Grew from 2006 to more than 90 employees, headquartered in New Mexico, eventually acquired by Sartorius, a biotech company that works in blood products, in 2016, when the company revenue had grown to $18 million. At that point, about 350 systems had been sold around the world. It's now more like 500. In addition to the systems, the razors, there were the razor blades of reagent kits, a sales force that was developing worldwide, mostly sales in biotech and pharma with a smaller amount in academic and government labs. There are now about 15 patents. Next slide. So as the company exited, it was acquired by Sartorius, remained independent through 2017, was investing in global sales, growing to 90 employees, fully integrated with Sartorius in 2018, and is now a Sartorius brand, but the Albuquerque site continues to expand. Next slide. So if you think about their time frame, so remember the discovery was in about 1999. The company was founded in 2006. It took some time. It required raising angel and VC rounds. The early versions of the technology were installed actually by Bruce Edwards and Terry Dunlay, who was working part-time developing software. Over the next 8 years or so, the technology was packaged into a screening platform with software and reagents being developed, creating this new category in cell analysis with integrated instrument reagents and software platform. In the period of global adoption, the growth was at over 50% per year. And it became a platform of choice in this field when it was finally acquired by Sartorius. So meanwhile, while IntelliSite was growing, I just wanted to talk to you about what was happening back in the university. Next slide. So we had a platform that we had innovated with. We could actually use the platform for discovering of drugs, and then taking those drugs into the commercial arena or into the clinic, a phase that you might call translation. And this translation involved not only the discovery of new drugs, but repurposing of old drugs for new purposes. And so some of the areas that we worked with UNM faculty, Eric Prosnitz, which led to two companies, one called Linnaeus and the other called the G-protein coupled estrogen receptor development group. They were looking for diseases related to estrogen receptors, cardiovascular diseases, and cancer. Another set of targets in cell signaling, repurposed non-steroidal anti-inflammatories in ovarian cancer, leading to trials, and a company called Revere. We've been working with other investigators on the problem that cells often pump out the drugs that you feed them through transporters called multi-drug resistance transporters. And these are in blood cancers and tumors. Richard Larson and Alex Chagayev. We've worked in some other areas involving other types of signaling diseases and resistance in bacteria, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and stroke. And there are likely to be some interesting opportunities in personalized medicine that we've been working on with a number of investigators at UNM. So let me conclude by saying, next slide, that running side by side with the commercial development IntelliSite was the UNM Center for Molecular Discovery that has turned out to be an engine for economic development, academic innovation, and drug discovery. Programmatically, it's generated about $60 million. It's had as many as 40 staff at the peak. The innovation part, the developing the platform, the applying the part to the discovery of new drugs, and translating the platform into the clinic and into commercial success. The academic components involve publications, patents, and trainees, many of them hired by IntelliSite, a startup company which has exited. During the period of the Great Recession, we provided an infrastructure for growth at UNM-HSC. That is, that construction project of renovating that building actually involved 150 construction jobs that were saved during the recession. And these opportunities had implications both regionally, nationally, and globally in terms of all of these factors: innovation, discovery, and translation of the technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. So Larry's story is just a really good example of how you can use the resources at UNM Rainforest Innovations and through our University Center program to take, if you're a student researcher, if you're a business student, you just have an idea. His story is a really good example of how you can take that research and that idea from the lab through the technology transfer process and create it into an actual company. And he has office hours monthly. So if you want to continue to chat with him about your ideas and see if he has any advice for you, feel free to email me and we can get you set up with him for office hours. And if you have any questions about the New Mexico Rainforest University Center, if you need anything clarified, or if you just want more information, you can visit our website, which is New Mexico Rainforest, nmrainforest.com, or you can also email me. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you again, Larry. And I hope to see you all again online and in person at some point. But thank you.
Thank you.